world celebrates before the story is finished. A small spacecraft rests on a plain of gray dust. Its shadow stretches across the lunar surface. Above the horizon hangs Earth, bright
Houston,
and
this is
distant,
Tranquility Base. We copy you.
the place every human being has ever called home.
Roger, T-Base. Beautiful view from the Eagle.
The message has already arrived. The landing worked. Apollo 11 has reached the moon. For most people, this is the ending. The television broadcasts, the headlines, the famous footprints, the words spoken from the surface of another world, all of them seem to point toward the same conclusion. The objective has been achieved. The mission has succeeded. Yet the spacecraft remains exactly where it landed. And the two men standing beside it are still almost 250,000 miles from home. The moon landing is remembered as a journey toward a destination. From the surface of the moon, it looks different. It looks unfinished. The lunar module named Eagle sits quietly in the dust. Seen from a distance, it appears to be a single machine, but it is actually two machines stacked together. The lower section brought the astronauts down. The upper section is supposed to take them back up. As the hours pass, attention naturally follows the astronauts. They move across the surface, they collect samples, they plant instruments. They leave footprints that will remain long after they are gone. Yet behind them, almost motionless, waits the ascent stage. The machine nobody came to see. The machine that now matters more than anything else. Because once Apollo 11 lands, something unexpected happens to the shape of the mission. Success creates dependence. The descent engine has already done its job. The command module carrying Michael Collins continues orbiting overhead. Earth remains visible in the black sky. But none of those things can bring Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin home. Only the ascent stage can do that. The most famous destination in human history has suddenly become a place they cannot leave without a single vehicle working exactly as intended. The achievement that seems to complete the mission has concentrated it. Everything now points back to one machine parked in the dust. From Earth, the situation is easy to overlook. The moon looks close enough to see. The blue planet hanging above the horizon looks familiar. Yet distance changes meaning when there is no path across it. Standing on the lunar surface, the astronauts are farther from rescue than any human beings in history. There is no backup spacecraft hidden beyond the horizon. No second lunar module waiting nearby. No emergency launch capability capable of reaching them in time. The mission architecture contains no rescue plan. The reason is simple. There cannot be one. Apollo 11 was built around a narrow chain of events: launch, transit, landing, ascent, rendezvous, return.
Verify all
Remove
breakers are
one
seated
link
prior
and the
to
chain
OH burn.
ends. From the surface of the moon, Earth is visible. It is also unreachable. The public celebration that follows the landing hides a reality NASA understood from the beginning. If the ascent stage failed, the astronauts could not be recovered. The possibility was serious enough that contingency preparations existed on Earth. Even the president had remarks prepared for a scenario nobody wanted to imagine. Not because NASA expected failure, but because there would be no alternative if it happened. The return path disappears. And once it disappears,
GDC alignment, secondary.
nothing replaces it. That realization changes the meaning of every image from the surface.
Engine arm,
The photographs no longer show explorers standing
Guidance system ready.
triumphantly on another world.
Roger.
They show explorers standing beside their only ride home. The ascent stage becomes impossible to ignore. Its thin walls,
RCS
its
heaters
compact
on.
cabin,
Cryofans auto.
its
Fuel
engines
cell isolate
and
closed.
electronics.
Final checklist complete.
Every
Detach and
system
stow.
inside it carries a burden larger than itself. A failure here would not resemble the dramatic dangers often associated with spaceflight. There would be no fiery descent, no collision, no explosion visible from Earth. The threat is stranger than that. It is the possibility that departure never begins. As launch preparations approach, even small components gain enormous significance. One of the most famous examples appears almost absurdly minor. Inside the lunar module, a circuit breaker associated with the ascent engine becomes damaged. Not a giant engine. Not a fuel tank. A switch. A small physical component connected to the system responsible for leaving the moon.
Roger, Eagle. You are go for ascent. All systems
The scale of the
green.
problem and the scale of the mission suddenly feel mismatched. A machine capable of crossing space now depends on something small enough to fit in a hand. The astronauts improvise a solution. The mission continues. Yet the moment reveals something important. The return journey is not protected by invincibility. It is protected by countless individual parts functioning correctly. The ascent stage is not merely a vehicle. It is a collection of vulnerabilities balanced against an impossible distance. And eventually, there comes a moment when analysis ends.
Houston Eagle,
Checklists
we are
are
pitching
completed.
up and proceeding with the orbital
Systems are
insertion
configured.
burn.
The surface mission is over. The time for answers arrives. Inside the cabin, the astronauts prepare for liftoff.
Houston,
Beneath
systems
them
check
remains the
complete.
lower
Currently
half of
50,000
Eagle,
feet. Everything
the
is
section
nominal.
that carried them down to the moon.
Roger that, 50. Proceed.
Above it sits the ascent stage. The only exit. The only remaining path back toward Earth. If it works, the mission continues. If it does not, nothing follows. Then, ignition. A burst of thrust. Dust spreads across the lunar surface. The ascent stage begins to climb. For the first time since landing, the spacecraft is moving away from the moon. The gray landscape falls beneath it. The distance from the surface increases. The trap begins to open. The machine that spent the entire mission waiting silently in the background finally performs the task for which it was
ascent
built.
stage is visual, looking very
Not
fine from
arriving.
here.
Leaving.
Roger, Columbia, stand by for
Soon it will
stabilization maneuver.
rendezvous with the command module overhead.
Okay,
Later will
Houston,
come
we
the
are
journey
closing the final
home,
distance, looking good.
the plunge through Earth's atmosphere,
Roger that, Apollo. We
the
show
splashdown
capture.
in the Pacific. Those events are often remembered as the conclusion. Yet from the perspective of the lunar surface, the decisive moment has already occurred. The ascent stage rises into the black sky. At the beginning of the story, Eagle appeared to be the spacecraft that landed on the moon. By the end, it means something entirely different. It is the machine that allowed two human beings to escape it. The moon landing is remembered as humanity reaching another world. But for the people standing there, achievement was never the final destination. The mission succeeded because the spacecraft resting beneath a distant Earth did not remain there. It lifted off and carried the only path home with it.